Hey everyone, welcome back to Checkered Sky, where we uncover the stories behind some of the most heartbreaking cases in true crime. Today, we're here to tell the story of Lauren Johansen, a 22-year-old nursing student from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, whose life was cut short far too soon. Lauren Johansen was born on October 30, 2001, in Mississippi, a state known for its tight-knit communities and Southern hospitality. By 2023, she was a dedicated nursing student at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, a city of about 48,000 people in Forest County. Lauren was the kind of person who left a lasting impression on everyone she met. Her father, Dr. Lance Johansen, a local physician, often spoke of her compassion and determination. She was working toward a career in healthcare, driven by a desire to help others. Friends and family described her as kind-hearted, always ready with a smile, and deeply committed to her studies. Lauren balanced the demands of her nursing program, which included rigorous coursework and clinical rotations, with the everyday challenges of young adulthood. She lived in a home on South 11th Avenue, a quiet street in Hattiesburg, where she was surrounded by a support system of family and friends. To ensure her safety, Lauren's home was equipped with 11 security cameras, a precaution that reflected the concerns her family had about her well-being. At the heart of Lauren's story was her relationship with Bryson Rivers, a 23-year-old man from Mississippi. The two met sometime before 2023, and what began as a hopeful connection soon became a source of pain. According to statements from Lauren's father, shared in court records, their relationship was marked by troubling incidents. Lance Johansen described multiple occasions where Lauren faced difficulties with Rivers, though she often tried to move forward with her life. Abusive relationships often involve complex dynamics, making it hard for victims to break free. For Lauren, her kindness and trust may have kept her tied to Rivers longer than her family wished, despite their attempts to intervene. Despite these challenges, Lauren agreed to join Rivers for a trip to Nashville, Tennessee in early December 2023. The city, known for its vibrant music scene and bustling attractions, was a popular destination for a getaway. For Lauren and Rivers, the trip was meant to be a chance to spend time together, but it quickly took a dark turn. On December 11, 2023, Lauren and Rivers spent the day visiting some of Nashville's well-known spots. They started at the Frist Art Museum, a cultural hub in the heart of the city, where they likely explored exhibits and enjoyed the creative atmosphere. From there, they headed to Topgolf, a popular entertainment venue, for a casual outing. The day seemed ordinary, filled with activities typical of a young couple on a trip. Later that evening, they visited a local bar, mingling with others and soaking in Nashville's lively nightlife. But as the night progressed, an argument broke out between Lauren and Rivers. According to police reports, Rivers accused Lauren of inappropriate behavior with the bartender, a claim that sparked tension between them. The situation escalated as they left the bar. Rivers allegedly slapped and punched Lauren, took her phone, and drove her to a parking lot in Germantown, a Nashville suburb. There, he brutally beat her for about an hour, holding her forearm against her throat, causing her to nearly lose consciousness. Lauren recorded part of the assault on her phone, capturing her screams and struggles to breathe. Metro Nashville police, alerted by Rivers' mother and Lauren Johansen's family via a tracking app, found Lauren banging on the car window for help. The car's interior was covered in blood, and a handgun was found inside. Rivers was arrested and charged with 2 counts of especially aggravated kidnapping, 1 count of aggravated stalking, and 1 count of coercion of a witness. Lauren was taken to a nearby hospital, where she received treatment for her injuries. She spent 2 days recovering, a testament to the severity of the incident. The police relied heavily on physical evidence from the car and Lauren's injuries to build their case. Lauren's recorded audio from her phone, which captured parts of the altercation, also played a role in documenting what happened. For Lauren's family, the incident was a wake-up call. Lance Johansson, her father, took immediate action to bring Lauren back to Mississippi once she was released from the hospital. He wanted to keep her safe and away from Rivers, who remained in custody in Nashville's Davidson County Jail. The family hoped this would mark the end of Lauren's contact with Rivers, allowing her to focus on her studies and her future. Lauren returned to Hattiesburg, where she resumed her life as a nursing student, surrounded by her sister and friends. Her home on South 11th Avenue, equipped with 11 security cameras, was a place where she should have felt secure. The Nashville incident was a critical moment, exposing the dangers in Lauren's relationship with Rivers. It also brought her case into the legal system, where decisions made in the coming months would have far-reaching consequences. In the weeks after the incident, the case moved through Nashville's court system. By March 19, 2024, a preliminary hearing was held before Judge Cheryl Blackburn in Davidson County. The hearing was a critical step, determining whether there was enough evidence to proceed with the charges against Rivers. During this session, prosecutors presented audio evidence recorded on Lauren's phone during the Nashville incident, which captured parts of the altercation. The audio was reviewed in closed chambers to protect sensitive details, but its existence underscored the seriousness of the case. Lance Johansson testified at the hearing, providing insight into the impact of the incident on his daughter. "I sat in the courtroom in Nashville and told the judge that if they let him out, he was going to kill her," Lance Johansson said. "He had assaulted her. This was probably the 5th or 6th time where they would get into a fight and he would beat her. We would get her away from him for a while, but he would find a way to weasel back in it." While Rivers remained in jail, his attempts to contact Lauren continued. Court records later revealed that he made phone calls from Davidson County Jail, trying to influence her statements about the December incident. These actions aligned with the charge of coercion of a witness, suggesting Rivers sought to control the narrative even from behind bars. Lauren, however, was back in Mississippi, trying to rebuild her life. Initially, she expressed reluctance to press charges, a common response in cases involving complex relationships. Despite her hesitation, Metro Nashville Police moved forward with the case, relying on physical evidence like the blood in the car and the handgun found at the scene, ensuring the charges stood independent of Lauren's wishes. As the legal process unfolded, a significant decision came in April 2024. Judge Cheryl Blackburn, overseeing the case, made a ruling on Rivers' bond, which had initially been set at $250,000, a high amount reflecting the severity of the charges. During a court session, the judge decided to reduce the bond to $150,000, a move that would have significant implications. The bond reduction came with strict conditions designed to ensure Lauren's safety and monitor Rivers' actions. These conditions required Rivers to be released to the custody of 2 bonding companies, Brooks Bail Bonding and On Time Bonding, and to wear a GPS ankle monitor to track his movements. Additionally, he was ordered to remain in Davidson County, Tennessee, and to have no contact with Lauren, either directly or indirectly. The bond conditions were meant to balance the need for public safety with Rivers' legal rights, but they relied heavily on proper execution by the court and the bonding companies. The legal proceedings from December 2023 to April 2024 marked a critical period in Lauren's story. The charges against Rivers, the evidence presented in court, and the bond reduction decisions set the stage for what would come next. On June 24, 2024, a significant error occurred in Nashville's Davidson County Criminal Court Clerk's office. Rivers was released from jail after posting the reduced bond, but the clerk's office failed to properly communicate the bond conditions to the jail or the bonding companies, Brooks Bail Bonding and On Time Bonding. The bond order specified that Rivers was not to be released after 4 p.m. to ensure he could be fitted with a GPS monitor by Tracking Solutions, which closed at that time, but this was not followed. Records show Rivers was let out of jail on Monday, June 24th at 4:05 p.m. As a result, Rivers left custody without the required GPS ankle monitor and without clear instructions to remain in Davidson County or avoid contact with Lauren. This clerical oversight, later documented in court proceedings, meant that no one was actively monitoring Rivers' movements. The system that was supposed to protect Lauren had faltered at a crucial moment. The Davidson County District Attorney's Office attempted to address the mistake. On Friday, June 28th, they left a voicemail for Lance Johansson, warning that Rivers had not reported to tracking solutions for a GPS monitor and could not be located. The voicemail, obtained by WLOX, stated, "This is Bailey calling from the District Attorney's Office in Nashville. Bryson Rivers was released from custody. He was supposed to report straight to a GPS company and be put on a GPS monitor, and he was not to leave Davidson County. But as soon as he was released, he did not report to that GPS monitoring company, and he has not been heard from. I wanted to make sure Lauren is safe." Lance Johansson did not hear the message until Monday, July 1st, leaving the family unaware of the immediate risk. With no monitor in place and no restrictions enforced, Rivers was free to leave Nashville and traveled back to Mississippi, where Lauren was living, violating the terms of his bond. Rivers' movements over the next few days were erratic. On Saturday, June 29, 2024, he briefly returned to Nashville around 4 p.m. and was fitted with a GPS ankle monitor by Freedom Monitoring, a different company from the court-ordered tracking solutions. However, no exclusion zones were set to restrict his travel or alert authorities if he approached Lauren, compounding the initial error. By July 1st, he was back in Mississippi, specifically in the Biloxi area, as later confirmed by GPS data. On July 2nd, his monitor's battery began failing around 10 a.m., and he stopped responding to messages from Freedom Monitoring. His last recorded location was on Beach Boulevard in Biloxi, far from Davidson County. During this period, Rivers made repeated attempts to contact Lauren. Court records later revealed he sent approximately 126 texts and calls to her phone between June 25th and July 2nd, 2024, though she did not respond. These attempts suggested he was focused on reaching her, despite the court's no-contact order. Lauren, meanwhile, continued her life in Hattiesburg, unaware that Rivers was no longer in custody or being monitored. Her home's security cameras and the presence of her sister and a male friend provided some reassurance, but the family had no reason to suspect Rivers was nearby. Lance Johansson, who had been vocal about his concerns in court, trusted that the legal system's conditions were being enforced, unaware of the breakdowns that had occurred. The failure to properly implement Rivers' bond conditions created a dangerous gap. The bonding companies, Brooks Bail Bonding and On-Time Bonding, were responsible for ensuring compliance, but the lack of clear communication from the clerk's office left them uninformed. Similarly, the incorrect assignment of the GPS monitor to Freedom Monitoring added to the confusion. The clerical error in Nashville, combined with the lack of proper monitoring, allowed Rivers to slip through the system's cracks. Rivers' unmonitored movements in late June and early July brought him closer to Lauren, setting the stage for a devastating outcome. On July 1st, he visited his mother's home in McHenry, Mississippi, a small community about 30 miles from Hattiesburg. That night, he arranged to be dropped off near Lauren's residence on South 11th Avenue. Around 2:15 a.m. on July 2nd, a friend left him a short distance from her home, and by 4 a.m., surveillance footage captured Rivers walking toward Lauren's house, fully clothed. The footage came from the security cameras installed at her property, though police later noted that 5 of the 11 cameras were missing when they searched the home. Inside the house, Lauren was not alone. Her younger sister and a male friend were present, providing a sense of normalcy. The friend later told investigators he saw Lauren alive between 4 and 6 a.m. that morning, suggesting she was still safe at that point. However, the situation changed rapidly. Surveillance footage showed Rivers leaving the house around 5:11 a.m., noticeably without a shirt, before briefly returning. By 5:51 a.m., he was recorded driving Lauren's car out of the driveway. He returned once more to pick up an item and then left again. That same day, July 2nd, 2024, Lauren's family grew concerned. Early Tuesday morning, Lance Johansson said he woke up around 4 a.m. and received a notification that his daughter's Life 360 tracker was turned off. Then, he received a call from his younger daughter, who was living with Lauren. She said that Lauren was not home, the front door was left open, and their security camera was destroyed. The family contacted Hattiesburg Police Department to file a missing person report. Here is what Father Lawrence said about the police's reaction when he reported his daughter missing. "When I got up there in the morning, I called to see what Hattiesburg police found overnight. There was no communication. They didn't do anything. We assumed they were going to track the vehicle and try to find her, but they never did it until Wednesday at 3 o'clock when I insisted they find out where the car was." Using OnStar, a vehicle tracking service, Hattiesburg police located Lauren's car on July 3, 2024, at Wolf River Cemetery in Pass Christian, a small town in Harrison County, Mississippi, about 70 miles from Hattiesburg. A Harrison County deputy, conducting a welfare check, approached the vehicle and discovered Lauren's body in the back, wrapped in sheets and trash bags. The discovery confirmed the family's worst fears. Rivers was seen fleeing into nearby woods, triggering a large-scale response from law enforcement. 8 agencies, involving 55 officers, conducted a 9-hour manhunt, culminating in Rivers' arrest around 11 p.m. that night. He was charged with first-degree murder, grand larceny auto, and tampering with evidence. During the manhunt, Rivers contacted his brother, making statements that later became part of the court record. These statements, reported by WLOX, provided insight into his mindset, though investigators relied primarily on physical evidence, including the surveillance footage, GPS data, and the condition of Lauren's car. Mississippi officials have stated that autopsy records, particularly for homicide cases, are not considered public record in the state, so no official autopsy results for Lauren Johansson have been released. However, her father, Lance Johansson, described her injuries based on his observations, noting that she was brutally beaten, with severe trauma to her face and head. The Harrison County Coroner's Office confirmed her death on July 2, 2024, with investigators determining the murder likely occurred in Forest County. The discovery of Lauren's body marked a tragic turning point, ending her family's hopes of bringing her home safely. The events of July 1st and 2nd exposed the devastating consequences of the legal system's earlier failures, leaving Lauren vulnerable despite the precautions taken by her and her family. On July 26, 2024, Rivers appeared in Forest County Justice Court before Judge Gay Polk Payton. The hearing focused on his charges: first-degree murder for Lauren's death, grand larceny auto for taking her car, and tampering with evidence for actions taken after the crime. Judge Polk Payton denied bond for the murder charge, ensuring Rivers remained in custody, but set $20,000 bonds for the lesser charges of grand larceny and tampering as a procedural matter. Lance Johansson, present in the courtroom, expressed relief that Rivers would stay behind bars, emphasizing the need for accountability. The hearing marked the first step in a long legal process, with the case moving toward a grand jury. The investigation into Rivers' release from Nashville gained traction in August 2024. On August 15th, a 6-judge panel in Davidson County, Tennessee, held an evidentiary hearing to examine the clerical error that allowed Rivers to leave jail without proper monitoring. The panel questioned representatives from Brooks Bail Bonding and On-Time Bonding, the companies responsible for his bond, as well as Freedom Monitoring, which had incorrectly fitted his GPS monitor. Court records showed that the Davidson County Criminal Court Clerk's office failed to communicate the bond conditions, and the bonding companies did not ensure compliance. Lance Johansson, who attended the hearing, criticized the companies for their negligence, arguing they allowed Rivers to return to Mississippi unchecked. By February 2025, the case progressed significantly. On February 18, 2025, a Forest County grand jury indicted Rivers on 3 charges: capital murder, grand larceny auto, and tampering with physical evidence. The capital murder charge made the case eligible for the death penalty, reflecting the severity of the crime. 2 days later, on February 20, 2025, Rivers appeared before Judge Bob Helfrich in Forest County Circuit Court for his arraignment. He pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges. In October 2024, a 6-judge panel in Davidson County ruled that 2 bonding companies made mistakes, but did not break any rules in Rivers' release in Nashville before he murdered his ex-girlfriend. The judges added that while mistakes were made, the alleged criminal actions lie with Rivers. Beyond the courtroom, Lance Johansson channeled his grief into advocacy. On June 23, 2025, he filed a $150 million wrongful death lawsuit against Brooks Bail Bonding, On-Time Bonding, their agents and insurers, alleging negligence in Rivers' release. The lawsuit, reported by WLOX, sought $50 million in compensatory damages and $100 million in punitive damages, aiming to hold the companies accountable for failing to enforce the bond conditions that allowed Rivers to reach Lauren. Lance Johansson also proposed Lauren's Law, a legislative effort to prevent those charged with violent domestic crimes from being released on bond until trial. Lauren's case highlighted critical flaws in how domestic violence cases are handled, from bond enforcement to victim protection. Her father's efforts, both in court and through advocacy, aimed to ensure her legacy would lead to change. The trial was scheduled for June 25, 2025, and as of July 2025, no verdict had been reached, with the case still pending. Thank you for joining us on Checkered Sky to honor Lauren Johansson's memory and share her story. We'll continue to follow this case and others, bringing you the truth with care and respect. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.